Hi, Lacey Artemis here. Been a while since I really did a proper video on this channel where I was actually speaking to the audience directly. Um, Today is November 12th, and the reason why that is significant and why I'm doing this video is because November 12th last year, I went on medical leave from my day job. And that was kind of the culmination of 15 years in a career that I didn't hate, I didn't love. It paid the bills, it's something that I was good at, but it was never my passion and it was never what I wanted to do forever. And I'd been trying to build my own thing on the side for a number of years, and there was a lot of false starts. There was a lot of just trying, maybe this will be the thing, maybe that'll be the thing, and it was never the thing. And I learned a lot of lessons and things, but I also still knew, like, I don't want to be doing this, my old career, forever, so I need to figure something out. Um, and so when I went on my medical leave, I decided it's now or never. I'm getting kind of a chance here. Like, yes, I'm burnt out, but part of that burnout is just that, like, all of my best energy is going into this thing that doesn't really give me anything back except money. And money is obviously important, but it's not fulfillment. And what I knew was that I was having to spend what little time and energy I had left outside of this job, at this career, to seek that fulfillment, and it wasn't cutting it. So I took that opportunity, and over the last 12 months, um, so I came into this year, I came into 2025 knowing that I was passionate about public speaking and that I wanted to do more of it and I wanted to get paid to do it. Now, I will admit that I didn't know going into it that it would be more, there'd be more to it than I thought. I knew that I figured out that I needed an agent because I didn't know where to start. I mean, I obviously, as you can see from other videos on this channel, I've done storytelling events, I've done stand-up comedy, I've done other things, I've done speeches and such, but um, it that was more like kind of low-level starter stuff, and I aspired to more. So in March, I hired a speaker agent and worked with her for 6 months and got some bookings, but it and she told me up front that it was a long game, that it was a thing that you build up towards, that you kind of build your profile for the first year, and then the second year is when things start to really take off. But unfortunately, when our time kind of together came to an end, um, I was not where I'd hoped to be, and I had kind of, once that time ended, I'm like, well, I don't have the capacity to be my own agent, so I kind of stopped pursuing the speaking stuff, not because I wanted to stop, but because I had to kind of focus on more immediate things. I had originally started my own company in 2024, Artemis Events as it was originally known, and again, the goal for that was it was twofold. It was to give me more opportunities to do kind of public speaking, facilitation, hosting, connecting with people, because I enjoyed all that, but also because I was frustrated with the lack of accessible events. And not so much the physical accessibility for me, because I'm more or less able bodied, but the sensory accessibility, because again, being autistic and ADHD, and I have several sensory issues, so I wanted to address that. I wanted to try to make that better. So I started my own company to organize, host, run more events, the kinds of events that I wanted to go to, but that were accessible for people like me. But I quickly figured out that being a fully independent event organizer is a lot of work, and it's thankless work largely, and it doesn't pay great. So I had to go back to the drawing board. I had to pivot. And in August, so 3 months ago, I ended up rebranding to Neuromix Consulting, And that was where I shifted my focus from. Again, I still want to do public speaking. I still want to host and facilitate at events and connect with people. But the core of it all was that sensory friendly, sensory accessibility, and more broadly accessible focus. Again, I was mostly focused on events because I feel like they're the biggest the biggest issue in that sense. But they're not the only place. Any kind of shared space really is relevant. But and I've made a ton of progress in a short time. Lots of really great meetings, calls, meetings with notable organizations, people, and just had a call the other day about being an exhibitor at a conference in the new year. But again, with this is a long game. Building a business is a long game. Public speaking is a long game. And so I've really been working at it. But it's kind of funny how the timing works out. I published a blog post. If you don't follow my blog, it's laceyartemis.substack.com. I published a blog on October 20th, I think it was, because October 24th was the date that I actually ended up in the hospital last year, which led to my medical leave starting. So I kind of wrote a blog post to commemorate the year since that incident, to talk about all the things that had happened in the meantime. I've been to the hospital 3 times in the last year. I've moved twice, and I've had 1 rebrand. So 3, 2, 1, go. So I thought kind of like, okay, I did the blog post about the like October to October, and why don't I do a video blog, a vlog about the November to November? Because the way things that have kind of shaked out, I just had a couple of meetings today about bookkeeping work, and that's the world that I kind of came from, that I had grown out of, I feel like, but I still am good at. And a part of what was wrong with it was that I often was just not working. I didn't get a lot of chances to work in companies or work in environments that related to my interests that were connected to my values. And so it kind of just felt like I was just going through the motions. But now there's a couple of opportunities that are more directly connected to my interests and my values. And businesses, it's taking time to build Neuromix. So by the way, Neuromix has its own separate channel. So but this is reminding me, because like I said at the beginning, in last November, when I started this and I said, it's like now or never, I got to go for it. I've been a supporter of universal basic income, the concept, the practice, for a while, and this year again really reaffirmed to me how if that had been available, it would have, like, I had to get really resourceful and really strategic and borrow money this year that I would rather have not borrowed. Go into use up personal savings and credit, to try and keep it, because I really feel like there's a lot of potential here. And I thought, if I can get 1 more month and I'll manage to land that client that's gonna, get me through the next quarter. But it hasn't happened. There's a lot of potential in 2026, a lot of great calls and meetings that there's interest, there's enthusiasm, but they're just not ready to move on anything right now. So, and I've been building up other things. Like, I've laid a lot of groundwork this last few months that's really looking promising for the new year, but I got to get that far. So, but I'm thinking of how all of the years, the decade or so that I've been trying to make my own thing on the side and have it become viable, and it just hasn't worked for a variety of reasons. But part of it is just because it's really, really difficult to start something on the side when you're again, the bulk of your best energy and time is going to something else, and you kind of have to build with scraps for yourself. UBI would allow more people an easier time to do that building, but UBI is not an option for most people. I did see recently that Ireland just instituted universal basic income for the artists in the country, and I believe it said that they're getting $1,500 a month, which, if I was getting that here in Canada, that would be life-changing. In fact, there's places in this country that you could live, or even in Toronto, under the right circumstances, you could potentially, maybe not Toronto, but in some places, you'd be able to live on that much. And, I think that it's really a detriment to society that a lot of creative, passionate people are chained to desks or stuck in jobs that take everything out of them, and they have no energy and no time and no motivation left afterwards to invest into and develop their creativity, their ideas, their values. And this has led to, a loneliness epidemic. This has led to, lots of unfortunate things. So I have looked at this year, and for me, giving myself the time and the space, even though it meant, making some sacrifices, making some choices, taking some risks, giving myself the time to actually be able to focus and put my best time, my best energy into my goals, my vision, my passion, I know I have made more progress in 6 months of being able to actually focus on it than I did over, many years otherwise. And I know this, and I know that, thankfully I've made enough progress, I feel like, that I'm gonna get to the other side. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm going to. I'm gonna get to the point where my actual business, the thing that I started that I care about, is going to be sustainable and is going to be my full-time job, and I will never have to look back. But in the meantime, and I wouldn't have been able to get to this point without taking this time. That is my genuine belief. So this channel, to reflect a little, I know this is long and I don't expect many people to watch the whole thing. If you do, please let me know. Leave a comment or send me a message, because I really appreciate that, and I want to know who actually watched and listened to this whole thing, because you obviously care. I know this channel's been pretty kind of derelict, aside from me uploading occasional public videos. I've got a lot of unlisted videos. But when I started this channel, I just actually took down, I realize each time I log into YouTube a certain way, I see that my channel has a default video that it shows to people that come as an example of what to expect from the channel. And I kept realizing oh, my 2021 channel trailer has been in that slot since 2021. And my 2021 channel trailer had me doing video games on Twitch, and had me doing the original hat collecting podcast, and had other, me doing vlogs, a lot of stuff that I used to do that I wanted to do, and it was too much for me to do by myself. And I kind of miss doing that stuff, and I'd still like to do stuff like that again, but until I have help, it's just not feasible. But I finally took that video, didn't delete the video, but I took it off of that, that kind of, this is what to expect from the channel slot, and I put in there, in that slot now, the compilation of me doing public speaking in a whole bunch of different situations, because that's a lot more relevant to what I'm doing now. But I was just kind of thinking about that, of how this channel has existed for, I honestly don't, without checking it as I'm recording this, I don't remember exactly when I started it, but it's definitely been a channel for at least 5 years, probably more, probably since before the pandemic, definitely. Um, so, and, oh, you know what? Yeah, I just remembered because I think I started this channel way back to upload my music as just videos with a static album cover and then the music in them. And I think those are still on here and like my earliest videos. I wanted to do a lot more with this channel that just didn't happen. But it's just, so I'm kind of doing this video to let people know what's up. Hi. A lot has happened, a lot has changed. Another thing I was reflecting on when I was planning to do this video is how I know that I've done at least one or two videos on here in the past of like, well, I'm moving, so things are gonna be disrupted for a bit, but I'll be back. And like, I have moved I think I've moved 7 times in 6 years. Not by choice. That's just how things have unfortunately shaken out, because housing security in Toronto is not great. But I'm now, after the last time I felt like I had a space that felt as conducive to what I wanted and needed to do as this current space I'm now in does, was 2020. And I had to move out of that space because of a roommate that was terrorizing me. And that kind of just started a cycle of move. It just kept happening, unfortunately. And like, this is kind of the thing. Like, I've been really derailed the last several years. And going on medical leave is part of that, because like I said, I was working full time. I was being very depleted by my job because I couldn't. The last job I was in, that was like an in-office job, was a very bad environment for my particular sensory struggles, and there was no help. We literally was kind of told one day, like, if you're not in the hospital, you need to be here. And I ended up in the hospital, and I'm not there anymore. So, but I'd hoped that this year was the fresh start that was going to kind of get me to where I wanted to be. I made a lot of progress, but it wasn't. And 2026, like I said, there's a lot more potential and promise there, which is great. I've been meaning to record more videos much of this year. Part of the problem has been that for 9 months of this year, I was living in temporary accommodations, which were not super conducive to recording videos in. Now I'm in I'm in my own space now, and so I can do it again, but other factors now are making it more complicated and challenging to do videos. So again, I mentioned my blog. I've been writing stuff there. Some of it has been, again, not the most recent, but one of the more recent posts has been about the last year, October 24 to October 25, and a lot of what's gone on in there. Again, 3 times in the hospital, 2 moves, 1 rebrand of my business, and other nonsense. And this is kind of a further elaboration, more of a longer term retrospective, because again, I know my last channel trailer was from 4 years ago, and I'm doing almost none of that stuff anymore. I recently got back into gaming a little bit, but there was a game that I started playing, and I tried to start recording myself playing it, like kind of voiceover, and just, it wasn't. That's the sort of thing I kind of need a buddy to kind of play with and bounce off the energy. Anyways, I did get back into podcasting, and then I kind of went back on hiatus with it, and I'm trying to get back into it again. But again, I am trying to do too many things. Actually, I'm not even trying to do too many things anymore. as I said, I don't have help and I need it. And I'm overstretched with just adulting and trying to survive. But things are going well with Neuromix, really well. Looking at kind of the chaos around me, but and this actually happened before Neuromix. This design was made, I want to say, a couple of years ago now. It's on my Redbubble. But it kind of, I guess you'd say it was one of the seeds of it. But anyways, the point of this video, which has already gone longer than I intended it to, was to say, I'm still here, I'm still alive, I'm still trying to do the same things that I've been trying to do for years. Things have changed, positively and negatively. And I'd still love to be able to put videos up here more often. I realize I've got a bunch of blogs that are in various stages of draft right now. One that I'm really excited to do and publish soon. And I realize I should try to convert some of I feel like I should have tried to turn some of them into like, hey, I wrote this. It's like, hey, I wrote this thing. It's a blog, but I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to basically say what the blog was about as a verbal version of it. But that's not quite as simple. I'm starting to realize I'm kind of starting to ramble now because I've been talking for over 20 minutes. Again, if you are actually still listening and have watched this whole thing, please let me know. But I wanted to just do like an honest update to kind of go over things, to sort of say, here's what's been happening, here's what I'm still trying to do. And I still have more stuff planned, more things in mind that I hope to do. And I wish that this channel could be more active. But again, until I have kind of help, until I have certain things established a bit better, I think that's going to be difficult. I still have to do, the reason why this is a one-taker straight to the camera, I'm not doing any editing because I just don't have the time, which is also part of why the Neuromix YouTube channel is pretty limited on videos, and why the channel that I started for my puppet earlier this year, I put up like 5 or 6 videos, and then that started collecting dust because I just don't have time. But hopefully that will improve in the new year. I guess the last thing I'll kind of say quickly, this is my piano you can hear over here. My guitar is kind of hear it there maybe. So that was really awkward. I have my music gear set up again. It's the first time it's really been possible in this kind of way in a while. And I want to get back into music too, because that is something I haven't been able to do in a long time. But yeah, the goals, the ultimate goals for me, I still want to get more into public speaking. That's really a thing that I hope I can get back to more again in the new year. Just realizing ADHD, no script. I'm all over the place, but yeah, the disability thing, the invisible disability thing, and also some sort of intermittent physical issues and struggles. But the work that I've been focused on is disability related. It's accessibility and inclusion, accommodation related, and there's a unfortunate struggle there in that being a disabled person trying to promote accommodations and inclusion, I have my limits because of my own body and my own limitations, and that's another reason I haven't been able to get as much done as I would have liked, and also why I haven't been able to do more videos, but I'm really starting to ramble now, and this is way too long. I think I've said everything I need to say, and I think I'm just gonna. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching if you did, and I'm not gonna promise or hope for anything specific, but I really hope that a year from now, in November of 2026, that I can do a much more positive update, shorter and more positive, and hopefully be doing more of the things I've been talking about in this video again. So there, that's that. We're not going past 26 minutes.